Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday trading session. Halloween, no less. We'll see how the markets respond today. Yesterday, they were very sideways. Just stuck in the sideways trading range for the most part. There were some decent swings throughout the day, but overall, we didn't really get much traction. We broke out to the upside, topped out just past 62.50, came back down here, bouncing off 6,200, and that's kind of where we're at. Rallied back near yesterday's highs. And we'll see what happens. I guess when the market's sideways like this, it's not a bad idea to give them a few minutes to settle in. Here on the Raptor, you can see we've just made a test of the extreme, so we may actually get a little bit of a bearish push here to start the day. We don't have a sell signal yet. We're still producing green buying dots. However, the potential is there for a sell. The Geiger counter showing the selling, active selling going on, at least there for a moment. It was pulling over to the short side and getting quite sticky. There we go, there's the sell signal. There's now the completed number 2 signal. Of course, like I said, it's still very early. We're only a couple of minutes into today's session. If you were inclined, I suppose you could do a second push entry on this one. Second push simply means we allow the signal to engage, and then we look to see where it flinches, and then we enter on that renewed momentum. If this is going to develop into a trend, however, we should get at least one more opportunity to get short here. So a little bit of pullback off of the hard edge of the trading band. As to be anticipated, by the way, whenever you encounter the hard edge of the trading band, should always expect a reaction. We don't always know whether it's going to be a big reaction or a little reaction, but we should anticipate the market to react. Okay, so there's the reaction. Now we're coming back with yet another sell signal. this is all unfolding on a smaller scale. Usually when we get these reactions, we get something a little bit more pronounced, and then the market will swing and start to head lower, showing us that the sellers have recommitted to the short side. This is essentially the same thing that's happening, but it's unfolding a lot faster. It's actually just a follow-up of the earlier number 2 signal. And like I said, it's still very early. This is a little ambitious on my end. And I'm anticipating I'm going to get the triangle and hash mark. You can see at the moment we only have warning dots, which tells me that only about half of the trading parameters have been met. We don't have enough there for a completed sell signal, but I'm just trying to anticipate if the market is going to head lower here, that in fact I'm going to get that sell signal. Oh, see, I got another warning dot, so I can adjust my entry slightly. If it does continue lower here, I will print a triangle hash mark. So all I've done is I've used the logic counter that tells me where the bar is going to close on the low, and I've placed my entry just below there. You can see we've had a rather large amount of selling come through the market. It's not clear yet whether that's going to push the market lower or whether the buyers are absorbing it all. All right, so there's the triangle hash mark. I now have the completed signal. And since this is an early trade, I'm going to look to try to move this a little bit further. I'm going to try to get a little bit more out of this. Maybe trade it back toward the primary support here and the overnight low. Yesterday's lows were at 6,200. Maybe I should 6,200. That's going to be 3 zones down. 1, 2. Well, I could try for 6,209. We could make that. That's a definite possibility if the market starts to unwind here. Oh, come on now. See, now I'm getting the bigger retrace. And of course, this is the challenge with the counter trend signal, that the market is going to try to resume that uptrend. the way, the better placement for this stop is actually above the overnight high. And ideally not right there. If you're going to cover above the overnight high, be prepared to offer up a couple of ticks, because what happens very often is the market will just break the high by a tick or two. Sometimes it'll even go, a few bars higher, and then the sellers will show up and start to reverse the market again. So the last thing you want is to get tagged by a tick or two only to see the market continue in your direction. I think the buyers are going to run me out of this trade, by the way. The evils of counter-trend trading. It'll bite you every time. Now, had I taken the signal on the hash mark and left my high probability profit objective in place, that would have been a profitable trade. But I'm trying to get a little bit cute with the market here this morning, and it's probably going to end up costing me. Well, getting a little bit of a second chance on the trade. This double top is encouraging. We do need to see the market trade back down here below this 62.35 area, essentially taking out the lows of the day. And I'll try to give this trade every opportunity to work out. Marlene's in the number 3 trade. She's asking, should we roll the stops up? Well, this does show you that the buyers have recommitted to the trade. At the very least, I think if I were long here, I would have my stop down here. What I tend to do is, you've had a couple of bullish bars in your favor. So if the buyers fail to hold on to the trade at this point, they're probably going to run this area as well. So you could start to be more aggressive with your stop. The market is really sideways, as you can see right now. The best way to trade with your stops is to almost have like a gambler's mentality, in that once you place your order, the money is already gone. This money is gone. When you start thinking about it that way, then you tend to make some better decisions. You start to make poor decisions when you're trying to recover part of the money. But when you already count it as it's all gone, then you can sometimes approach it with a clearer head. So now we've got the battle going on. So the sellers controlling the market at this point, the buyers controlling the market at this point, and sooner or later we're going to see one of these levels give way, and then we'll see a little bit of follow through. And now we're dead sideways. I suppose you could even bracket this range. You could buy above a breakout higher, sell a breakout lower. Probably see a little bit of movement once we get going here. It's almost at the top of the hour. I wonder, Are we waiting on a report of sorts? Consumer confidence. Shouldn't be that big a deal, but maybe it is. Usually the reports that are the market movers are the FOMC reports and non-farm payrolls. Those are always a biggie too. Okay, getting a little traction now to the short side. Come on, get back down here below the low. And I may actually get a little breathing room on the trade. Okay, so trade now at break even. And you know, if it's come this far and they fail, well, I guess I'll be okay with the break even stop out. They're really starting to get a little traction here. I wonder if I should try to run it out to the next level. Oh, Eric. All right, here we go. I'm going to try it. We're going to swing for the fences here. And what I will do is, as we get down to the primary support, I'll start to run a more aggressive stop. So I'm going to get my parabolic stops ready. They tend to be a little bit more aggressive as the market slows. Darn it. Well, that's unfortunate. After all that, to get tagged at break even. All right, well, it looks like we might be getting a cloud crossover here as well. Marlene says that wasn't fun. You won. Well, I got out at break even, but I suppose that, as my uncle always said, that beats a kick in the head with a frozen boot. Hey, way to go, Frank. Frank says he got into the late filter entry trade here at 9.52. That's this one. Way to go, Frank. He's still short on it. Nicely done. That late filter entry, by the way, coincides with that second number 2 signal we saw here on the Raptor. That's that one right there. Okay, it does seem as though we have a slightly bearish bent on the morning so far. Oh, Dan, crushing it today. Dan says, it wasn't fun, but I made my day 1,290 net. 1,290 net. Nicely done, Dan. He says with that last number 2 signal done for the day. Well done. Yeah, Marlene says, thank goodness for sim accounts. But you know, folks, this is how you learn. It's a skill like any other. You have to actually do it to start to become proficient at it. Dan, you're getting a lot of kudos here. Mark also comments, I took that first micro macro cross for the Hawk, a decent $400 profit on 4 cars. And he also adds his attaboy for Dan. Marlene asks, that number 3 was a valid signal, correct? Yes, it was. Both these number 3 signals were valid, and I know why you got into that, Marlene, because, of course, the bigger trend. The bigger trend is in an uptrend. So it was definitely worth a try, especially this one, because it came in rather deep. So let's say you started with your stops here. Almost came up to the profit objective, stinkers. And this you could qualify as a double pullback signal, which again tends to have some very good follow through to it, except this time. So unfortunately, while they are high probability signals, they're not correct 100% of the time, and this is one of those times where you did everything right, but the market moved against you. Just a little note, and in hindsight, I wish we had labeled the continuation signal, the hard edge bounce, number 2, and the counter trend signal, number 3, because it seems odd to have the counter trend being the second signal. But at any rate, the point I'm trying to make is, if you get a number 2 signal after a number 3 signal, it tends to be more reliable. So when you have a continuation signal, when you get the hard edge bounce, the market tries to go up, it can't, and then you produce a number 2 signal. Those are the ones that are going to seem to have more follow through to them. And you can see that was certainly the case. And I think that the reason for that is we're doing what is called trapping traders. Traders get trapped when they're stuck on the wrong side of a trade and they have to exit. So we're talking about all these traders that were buying all the way down here. Well, where do you think their stop loss orders are? Well, chances are their stop loss orders are sitting right around there. Then you got traders who were buying here. Where are their stop loss orders? Well, they're probably right here. Likewise for these traders here that were trying to buy that last push up. Well, what happens when the market starts to come down? Well, you're trapping these traders. Their exit orders are sell orders. So that just adds a little extra momentum to the short side. So you take out these guys, and then the market goes a little lower, and look at that, big bar. You took out all those guys there, and then the market heads lower. Oh, look at that, another big bar. Took out all the traders here. So that's why these types of trades tend to get some pretty good momentum going to them. And it's called trapping traders. It's something that you want to keep an eye out for. It's not difficult to spot once you know what to look for. Essentially, you're just looking for those little battles between the support and resistance levels, those swing highs and lows. The same thing would have happened to the upside. Had the market broken above this high here, all the sellers that were selling here, well, their exit orders are buy orders, aren't they? So that would have fueled a little buying. Then we would have got up to the high of the morning, essentially this double top, where there's a whole lot more exit orders, which are buy orders. And that would have also sparked the market to the upside. So now we're looking at a little bit of a retest. If you considered this morning that as a little bit of a sideways range, the market now coming up, retesting. We'll see whether or not we get any bearish follow through from there. If we do, we should produce a cloud crossover signal. But right now, the warning dots are all green, which is actually more bullish. The Raptor and the Hawk already at the yellow bars. We may get a delayed reaction here to the break of the hard edge on the Eagle. And a really quick little trend change signal here on the Falcon as well. Oh, wow, Frank. Frank knocking it out of the park. One and done, he says, for $1,170. Way to go, Frank. Boy, you guys. Knocking it out of the park. Yeah, one and done. Anytime you can take 4 figures on a single trade, call it a day. Okay, let's see what's going to happen now with these yellow bars, because what what may be happening here is this may actually turn out to be a test to the extreme. And I'm taking a little bit of a chance here that the market's not going to go flying past me, which it very well might. If it was a stronger trend, however, we wouldn't have gotten into all these yellow bars already. Ditto here on the Raptor, which is producing a cloud crossover signal. There's our #1 cloud crossover signal. You could look at doing that maybe on a second push entry, maybe even entering below the low of the morning. Stephen says, I don't even have a trade yet. Well, Dan has a time zone advantage. He's over in Europe, so he gets a head start on the rest of us. Yeah, Mark says, wow, killing it this morning. Nice work, Frank. And Dan, of course, must be that Halloween magic. Yeah, no kidding. Usually you don't know what to expect on holidays. Not that Halloween is really a holiday, except for those little extortionists that are going to come around this evening. Eat all my candy. The bigger trend is still up, so I'm still a little leery about getting too aggressive on the short side. We've seen some huge gains in the stock market the last few days. But now it seems like we're in a little bit more of a sideways drift again. Note here on the Hawk, a lot more yellow bars cropping up here on the Falcon, or the Raptor as well. Quite a few more yellow bars. Yellow bars are just neutral. There's neither bullish nor bearish bias to them. That's why they can be so tricky to trade. The Eagle giving us a hard edge bounce now, a red bar buy. When the cloud rolls over just ever so slightly like that, it doesn't necessarily negate the buy signal for me. You see the same thing happen back here. Even though technically the band is bearish now, it just ever so slightly bearish. Price has drifted just by a couple of ticks too much to pull the band over. trade forecasters saying we are going to be in scalp mode for another half an hour. Could see a little bit more choppiness going on here. All right, the buyer's coming back a little bit here now. Well, we've kind of gone sideways here. All right, so we're watching a little bit of a pullback here. I don't know yet whether this is going to develop into a bear flag and maybe send the market lower. If this is the first leg of a move lower, we've broken the support zone. So normally when we see a breakout like this, we expect that the market will give us at least one more push in the direction of the breakout, in which case this will become a bear flag. Can't count the bulls out yet. We did get a first micro-macro cross signal here to buy on the Hawk. And it looks like the early trend change signal on the Falcon also rallied up a little bit. But what little momentum we had to start seems to have faded. At least a little. Well, there's not much to reflect on here. We're just stuck in a sideways range. The market very lackluster again. Yesterday, really quiet. Today, more of the same. And they were just starting to get my hopes up because earlier in the week, of course, we saw a couple strong rally days. Oh well, I'll just sit here and wait on them. Right now, I'm thinking the sellers may still have the upper hand today, but if they don't get it together pretty quick, we're just going to see the market bounce around some more in a bit of a sideways range. The Eagle getting slightly bearish now with a green bar sell. The Hawk still pretty neutral, lots of yellow bars. Maybe a late filter entry to buy in the Falcon, and the Raptor also pretty neutral. You can see our cloud starting to twist up like a rope here. It's we're getting conflicting signals between all the tools, and that's what's making it difficult. You know, you've got your scalping tool, which is essentially neutral, your swing trading tool, which is slightly bullish, and now your trending tool, which is slightly bearish. I've mentioned before that the programming behind these tools is unique to the tool. And that's why it's possible to get conflicting information like this. It's a little annoying to be sure. Yeah, we still got that possible late filter entry building here on the Falcon, which would be very bullish. The Eagle, you could park a trade here on the Eagle and just wait on it. It's essentially a green bar sell. Just like the red bar buy signal that I was looking at here, the cloud technically already bullish, but just slightly so. It's really getting twisting up like a rope. Not a high probability trade, by the way, so it's probably something that you want to take a single contract on if you're going to attempt this. Dan's asking, on a larger scale, could you look at this as a test of the extreme for the entire chart and buy? Yes, definitely. Sure. So what Dan's saying is, here's the uptrend. Is this a test of the extreme? Is this a retest of the low and a failure? Yes, most definitely. By buying the red bar buy, of course, you are in sync with the longer term trend, with the daily trend. But yeah, you can view it that way, for sure you can. Oh dear, I keep having to mute my mic. I'm having a sneezing fit this morning. I don't know why. Almost out of scalp mode and moving straight into trend mode according to Trade Forecaster. We'll see how long it forecasts a trend for. Maybe we'll actually get a little bit of follow through here, or maybe I'll scrub the trade and just wait for the buyers or the sellers to take control. I suppose if you were so inclined, this is also a bracketable range. You could bracket a buy above the high. You could bracket a sell below the low. I think I'll cancel that order for now. It's not the best looking of trades. A late filter entry signal almost complete. We've got the warning dots. We've got the filter back into sync, but no signal to buy yet. Remember, the triangle and the hash mark tell us that all the signal parameters have been met. The dots are just the warning dot. you need to anticipate these periods of consolidation as well. There's nothing you can do about them. You just have to kind of come from the mindset that you can only take what the market is giving. You're not going to force the market to do anything, really. Yeah, Scott says it sure is quiet, and it certainly is. Calm before the storm, perhaps, but the market's obviously very content where it's at. As far as the NASDAQ is concerned, traders are pretty happy with the NASDAQ trading around 62, 37, 38. And even the euro, the other one I'm watching, and gold, nothing is really moving today. Or not yet. We had that little flurry out of the open, and now everything has just kind of gone flat. All right, we officially have a late filter entry signal to buy. Now I'll put this on for the demo. The market is really, really quiet. The nice thing about this type of trade, however, is you can cover it below the low, or hopefully cover it below the low. There we go. I just want a single contract. Now I wonder, do we think they're going to get a little bit of momentum here? Should I try to go for two zones again? Throw my break even right up here with the primary resistance line. If they get above the primary resistance zone, the next buy will be here at 62.54, which brings us actually above the high of the morning. The high of the morning here at 62.48. Wow. This is the financial equivalent of watching paint dry. pieces. Paint dry, grass grow, ice melting. Are we missing anything? I don't think I remember such a prolonged period where the market has been so quiet, so dull. You know, obviously it happens, usually during the summer months. This would not, if this were August, this would not be unusual. But October, the last quarter of the year, no, you usually get a little giddy up in the markets, but I don't know, not this year. Not so far anyway. And I'm probably aiming way too high with my profit target there. I'll probably end up adjusting it, maybe even just looking at a scalp, especially as we start to close in on the lunch hour period. Yes, I know technically it's not lunch yet, but traders do have a tendency to get into their 3 martini lunches a little early. Oh, there we go. Got a little pep in the step now. And in fact, getting a crossover signal here on the Raptor to buy as well. Now, I've mentioned this before, but it's worth repeating. You need to take a look at the overall context. And, you know, I suppose the one good thing is that we do have a little bit more of an uptrend versus a downtrend. Come on, let's go. Giddy up. I don't like doing this, but I'll have to influence the market by pushing it higher with my magic mouse. I don't like doing this for my own personal gain, but there's just nothing else going on here this morning. Come on, get up there. Hey, way to go, Mark. I was wondering, Mark, whether you got in on that early trend change signal on the Falcon. Mark says, I did. Finally took $400 more on that early trend change signal, and the Falcon goal exceeded for the day. Nicely done. He says, phew, I really wanted out of that one. So overall, I added 32% to my trading account in October. Mark, I'm floored. That's amazing. I can't complain a bit. It's been a great month. Just wait till those fund managers at Fidelity hear about you. 32%. That's crazy. Nicely done. And getting some kudos here for Mark. Yes, great job indeed. Oh dear, do I have to keep pushing it? Come on, get going. Get up there. We're at the high probability target, by the way, or we kissed it, it looks like. We're still a little bit under it. $100 being the high probability target for the Falcon. And I'm trying to stretch this out a little. Maybe I'll... Oh, don't you dare swing. No, not yet. Get up there a little bit before you start looking back. Come on, get up there. Get going. Come on. I think I'll do well to see the high of the morning, and I may actually look at taking profit at that point. Or maybe I'll just go back to the high probability profit target. At any rate, I'm going to try to nurse this trade a little bit higher. We're almost to the top of the hour when we normally close up our room here for the morning. So if anybody has any questions, please type away. I will stay as long as you need me. There we go. Who's your daddy now, eh? Get up there. Yeah, so here we are near the high of the mornings. I think I'm probably reaching a little bit too far. I'll take it here at 46 if it gets up there. Yeah. Scott says more magic mouse. All right, here we go. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, Mark, I think you're right. Mark says the magic mouse works better on Halloween. Let's go. Come on. Get up there. A couple of ticks. All right, I'm going to squeeze this trade pretty hard now. Here we go. That's all you get. Okay, come on. Get up. Get going. Oh, gotta be careful not to drag it down. There we go. Just up this way. So it looks like a little bit of an early reaction to the high of the morning, which was around the 62.48 area. But that's okay. I think I got out of there with a scalp. Oh, a little bit better than a scalp. All right, gang. No other questions? No? All right. Well, have yourselves a wonderful Halloween. Don't eat too much of your candy tonight. Save some for the kids. And I will see you tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.